Slack just released its first ever diversity report. Speaking of diversity, Apple has none. And for the news we have to talk about, the big Apple event.
Hey everyone, and wait, first off, where are we right now? What is this new...
fancy new
brand
set.
new set.
That's where we are.
I'm confused by how awsome it is.
Yeah, it's pretty
So for
badass.
people who don't know, we've been rebuilding Backstage here for, I want to say, like upwards of a couple months. Tearing walls down, building new stuff, and finally, today, we have our new sets complete. So this is our trial back here, and I was asked by the video team to point out that we are still playing with lighting and microphone placement and so forth. So if there's a tweak needed today, don't take it to heart. We're working on it, but we're very excited. And it's beautiful and lovely and very new. Okay, but fuck all that, news. All right, so Slack this week actually dropped some very almost surprising data about their diversity numbers. So walk us through what they said.
Yeah, totally. So for some background, so Slack released its first ever diversity report.
Okay.
And making it the fourth unicorn startup to do so. Airbnb has released their data, Pinterest, and Dropbox.
And now
Slack is
okay.
the fourth one to do this.
Very good.
And what's really interesting about Slack's data is that a lot of companies, and even the three I just mentioned before, they have very low percentages of African Americans in engineering.
What does low look like? Is that like 1.2
Low's looking like 1%, 0.3%.
So like basically one black engineer out of the whole team, essentially.
Right. So very, 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 very low numbers. And so at Slack, it's actually around 4% company-wide African Americans.
Okay.
But then specifically in engineering, that's at 7%. So that's at least the first time we've seen that among the unicorn
So essentially,
startups.
they have more black engineers than black employees, which is not we see it the other way around usually, right?
Right, definitely.
What's driving that, do you think? I mean, why is Slack so different in this way?
Right. So I asked them, and so their VP of comms, I might be butchering her title, but her name's Ann Toth, and she said that, well, of course, it's too soon for them to really know what exactly is driving this. It's still a very small company.
Sure.
But that being said, they are doing things in their engineering interview process. So a very common thing that companies do when interviewing engineers is whiteboarding. And whiteboarding is after the technical interview on the computer, and you actually get up at a whiteboard and start doing your thing.
Yeah, can we talk about
Why it's called whiteboarding?
Like,
I mean, it technically is a whiteboard.
No, I understand technically, factually, why it's called that. We're discussing diversity.
To infuse diversity, we're getting rid of whiteboarding.
Just call it smartboarding or doodling on the wall. Like, welcome African American candidates. Here's your whiteboard. Like, it just feels funky.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
So the point is that studies have shown that that's actually that whiteboarding has been shown to, and I don't know if it's somehow, even though African Americans will do great, if not better than white people on the technical interview. When it comes to whiteboarding, they're judged, they're scored lower than their white counterparts, because then you're getting into a very subjective situation where it's just people sitting and it's like, no, I didn't really like this about that.
Latent racism could be playing a very important part in that process.
Exactly. So Slack has gotten rid of that. And
I've heard from a lot of engineers that I talk to that work for, not just unicorns, but large corporations, that these interviews are often kind of worthless. Like, whiteboard out for me how to do this problem. They're like, it's just dumb. I can do it faster on a computer, better on a computer, and I don't whiteboard out ever in my actual job, so why am I doing this? Maybe it's inefficient. But this week was Apple Week, and Apple had, if I may, an incredibly diverse set of white men on stage. It was like vanilla, off-white, whiter, blinding white,
and
snow.
All men. Also,
yeah,
there were a couple men. There were a couple women and a man who was editing a picture of a woman.
I'm sorry. Women aren't real. We know this. Diversity is a lie, and everyone's actually from Indiana, like Lucas here. That's fact, right? I think.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone in the tech industry.
You wrote a great post on this, specifically calling out Apple, if you will, about being so white and male it looked like Dropbox. So what'd you say?
Yeah. So basically. Yeah, so I just noted how there was a true lack of diversity shown on stage.
Yeah.
Granted, there were more, some people did say that there were more women on stage at this event than there ever has been at any Apple event, which is not something to be proud of. The fact
because there was zero before. Like there were none. Like
right.
Up from nothing. I mean,
and
like,
there were absolutely zero black people, except for in the little photos of their advertisements.
The cute little
the cute little black girl with the great natural hair.
She was
adorable,
really cute. Live
but
photos,
not real. Who is that? I mean, maybe, I don't know. So Apple definitely needs to do better with that. And it's just interesting because they recently came out with their diversity report within the last month, and Tim Cook said, we need to be better about diversity. So you would just think that in light of that,
they would be more. Okay, so what percentage of Apple's tech staff looks like this?
I forget the numbers offhand, but I would say the vast majority of their engineers look like.
White, blonde, Indiana.
He's actually from Iowa, which is ironic.
That is not true.
It's actually factually false. All right, no, but before we lose the thread here, Apple event, obviously, always a huge part of the media landscape for tech. Changes the whole week. Apple, of course, builds new things every year.
Yeah.
People don't know that. Anyways, Lucas, talk us through it. So we had new iPhones, Apple. What was the big broad strokes of this?
Yeah, so let's see. This Apple event really focused on Apple TV, iPad Pro, new iPhones. I think that a lot of the products were just kind of being finessed and kind of enhanced a little bit. Apple TV, I didn't really. They had a new remote, kind of a new interface.
The Wii thing.
Yeah. It has a Wiimote. The Siri.
Not what I'm swallowing. Please wait and then go. Okay.
The Siri integration in Apple TV, I think, is the big selling point here. Basically, you can kind of stack commands on top of each other. It's more intelligent than Siri is on your phone. So basically, you can say, I can say I want to watch movies with a certain actor. Let's watch movies from 2005 with that actor. So it
has search.
It kind of helps with discovery, right? Or
yeah,
it's like I'm in the mood for a family-friendly movie, then it'll suggest things.
Yeah, I think voice recognition works a little bit better saying it from the couch versus kind of saying it on the city street.
Sorry, wow, I'm dying. I had this on my Xbox already, right, with Cortana, and I can talk to it. It doesn't work on my phone because Siri is terrible. Amazon's Echo product has this built into the speaker, right? So what's innovative about this at all, other than Apple did it?
I mean, Amazon Echo, like all Cortana, like those products are just utilizing in different ways, and I don't think that they have the sophistication that this product does.
You've never even used this. How can you claim sophistication on a product you haven't even used?
I've used Cortana.
Oh my God!
And I have an Xbox One, and I've used Cortana.
Let's move on to the iPad Pro.
Well, if we're talking about how Apple was doing things that other companies have already done here with like the Apple Pencil versus the stylus that like Steve Jobs would have never wanted to see,
a pencil.
Or the no, it was better than that.
For $100, it better be a damn nice pencil. I'm just saying.
It's a damn nice pencil.
All right.
But iPad Pro versus Surface.
Versus MacBook. I mean, this has been, the question is, where mobility and productivity try to intersect, is that actually a product category, right? That's the thing. So I'm curious about your opinion on this. So Apple, 12.9 inches, iPad Pro, beautiful, expensive, not too crazy.
It's like
it's like a baking pan, if you will, but it's screen.
Yeah.
You can draw on with your $100 Apple Pencil. Not a Sharpie, because that would be copyright. Do we like this? Are we going to buy these? Are we going to use these around the office? What's the take?
It's weird because I think that this is a product so geared towards creatives, and like the people who are using Adobe, like Photoshop and stuff to like alter images are the people it's really geared towards. But I think like the most people who are going to buy it are people who are like, I want the nicest iPad and I want the biggest one, and then they'll get it. And I think it's like it doesn't make sense to hold. It's not like you're going to be like laying in bed with a 13-inch.
Every time.
And it's just, yeah, exactly. That's what's going to happen to
every
it, though.
concert video from here on out, some dumbass holding up his 12.9, he's like, I'm here.
Yeah, basically.
All right. But before we eject ourselves out of the office for the day, I want to hit back to the discussion about women and about Adobe and about the iPad Pro. And that glorious moment, that lovely, really delicious interlude when they took a woman and corrected her because she was not smiling enough.
Right.
So Megan, how can they still be so fantastically tone deaf? How do you screw that up?
I don't even know. And then what was interesting was that Scott Belsky of Behance, which is part of Adobe, joked about on Twitter and said like, "Oh, looks like we just started
Made a
a meme
meme.
or something." And then Justin Edmond,
Who is?
I believe he still works at Pinterest, or at least used to be an engineer at Pinterest,
Yeah.
or is still currently. We'll need to fact check that, but
We can't
either
go
way,
live.
I know. Either
Someone
way,
else fact check
he's very
that, call us.
outspoken, and he said, "Hey, this is not a good thing." So I mean, I
If
don't
you're
know.
going viral for being horrible, not good.
Right.
I'm amazed essentially that this is still something that happens because we sit and talk about diversity because it's an important thing. We talk about inclusion because it's a very important thing. Technology needs to do better. It's an important thing. And they get on stage at an Apple event, the most PR controlled thing ever, and are like, "Can we just adjust your face so you smile more?" It's
Right.
embarrassing. All right, anyways, we have to bounce. But before we leave, review. New studio. Do we like it? Do we like it here? Do we feel
Oh yeah,
good?
I'm into it.
Oh, it's real nice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
SpaceX
we'll be back next
endorsed.
week with more and tweaked lighting. And in the meantime, have a great weekend.